Jesse, I appreciate you taking the time to hop on this call with me. Um, to start off with, if you can just share which area you practice in and how long you've been in business and kind of what your business was like before meeting me.
So I was primarily working in the Durham area and East Toronto. So that was most of the areas that I was in. And honestly, when I started, I had like literally no business at all. I wasn't getting any clients, and I think I did like I know I mentioned it to you before when we first spoke. I had a deal like I did a one, two deals with like my broker of record, and I did a deal with my uncle, a lease listing. So pretty much I didn't have much business going in, and I really wanted something where I could get different clients to kind of work with and, help them
Makes
out,
sense.
right?
Makes
So,
sense. Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have a full-time job and you were essentially doing this on a part-time schedule. So obviously you had to spend time very wisely. Um,
exactly.
right? So how did you find us? Like how did you find about scaling with Sid?
I know I seen you on sorry, on Instagram. And I saw some of your posts where you talk about like getting 3 to 5 clients in autopilot, right? And at that time, like I had no business at all, and I really wanted to get some kind of lead flow coming in. So I know you, and I know I spoke to you before we spoke again, where we actually had a real call to kind of go over what the process was like. And I think at that point I was like, okay, I want to get this business going, right? And I had some money to invest. So I thought since you've kind of done it and you kind of know what it's like, I can then feel confident working with someone who's done it so they can help me scale my business, right? So
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. And as far as like what you've tried before goes, have you tried any lead generation or paid advertising before? No?
I've never considered it before. I honestly, like when I started, I didn't think I was gonna even do much, but when I did like some deals with my broker of record and that lease listing, like I knew that I wanted to do this more, like more business, but I just didn't know how to do it. And I was at a point where if I felt like, I was putting like posts on Instagram, I was putting content out there, I was trying to get myself out there, but I wasn't getting enough exposure. So that's when I needed to think of something like I was putting all this time in, but like I wasn't getting anything out of it. So I really wanted to kind of scale that to some extent. So I knew that I could still do the content, do what I already am good at, and then if I could get a way to have people see who I am, what I can do for them, then I hope that I could use those leads to kind of build the business that I wanted to build.
A
So
hundred percent. Yeah, you definitely walk the talk, and I'm very impressed with the online presence you already had, and now you're kind of just layering paid ads to it, which just blew up, your business, which is very impressive. When it comes to your uh, like when we met, essentially, what made you want to pull the trigger and move forward? Were you interviewing other agencies, or was it just me?
I didn't even think I was gonna do this. Honestly, I saw your ad and you said 3 to 5 pay leads guaranteed for under 15 bucks a day, right? And like I knew that if I could close even one sale, like that would be enough to easily cover the ad spend, right? And like I said, I mean, I was happy if I could just do a couple deals, get the ball rolling. So I think the ball's starting to roll now. So I look forward to seeing that ball get even bigger now, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love that. So in terms of like your biggest like win or when it clicked, let's just talk about when it clicked, right? Because I know you and I had a journey in getting your ads up and running, and and then once they ran, there were questions around how they work. What would you say really clicked to you and in the journey and made you feel like, yeah, this is something that is impressive and I want to pursue it.
Um, well, I mean, when we ran the videos and I started seeing leads and I started calling people, I mean, when I started calling and actually having real conversations, that's when it started to click, right? Because now I'm actually talking to people. People are inquiring about their real estate goals. Like I'm having real conversations. Like before I was just putting content out there, but I wasn't having real conversations. I wasn't even getting anywhere near a lead, anything close to a lead. So now I'm getting all these leads and I'm having real conversations. And I knew that at some point I can then use it to scale and start making conversions, right? The only fear I had going in was that I was initially spending all this money, and yeah, I was having those conversations, but I wasn't closing a sale. So that's when I met this one guy who was an investor, and I wanted to really close one sale so that at least I get some money coming in, and then I'll be more comfortable continuing. Now that I've finally done that, I feel comfortable that okay, this is big. So yeah, like I said, like now that I finally closed the sale, I'm looking, I'm more, it just clicks now that this is a real thing, you know, it actually got me a proper client, it got me my first sale, so now I
Yeah,
can see it.
yeah, 100%. Like you hit the nail on the head. Like obviously in the beginning, it's nerve-wracking when you spend a lot of money and then you don't see a return right away. The sales cycle, unfortunately, for real estate, and then even with people's mindset, happens to be a little bit more skeptical around buying such a large property. So it is a learning curve. Speaking of that, did you feel like the online leads were something that you could just like, were you able to speak to them immediately, or did you have to go through some sort of sales mindset? Like, did you have to develop essentially some sales skills to be able to speak to these online leads?
You,
If, yeah,
I think that's definitely the case. I know like at the beginning, I think I did speak to people, but I wasn't really getting much traction. And obviously, I think stuff like following up, you know, having proper follow-up, you know, building a database, keeping track of everything, like stuff like that. That's stuff that I'm going to be incorporating more on when I rerun my ads again. But yeah, like as I started having those conversations, like take keep in mind, like I'm still a relatively new agent, like I'm learning everything as well. So like when I'm having conversations, it's definitely like I'm not totally experienced, so I kind of get that fear like am I going to be able to help them if I'm not experienced enough? Like there's that kind of fear that I'm still new, right? So,
yeah,
but I think after doing this deal, like I feel more confident having, I feel like now when I talk to more people, I'll be able to have more proper conversations, more experienced conversations, and build that sales mindset to get the leads, right? To get the leads to
100.
convert. So
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Let's talk about that win, Jesse. It's so impressive what you've done. From where you were, couple of 1, 2 sales, like you said, a few leases, to closing on a $1.9 million project. Um, we're talking about, like what was the commission here on this property?
25,000.
25, yeah. So we're talking about an investment that you purchase for a client who's again going to list his property with you as well. Investor clients, all by themselves are usually the hardest to crack because they've bought and sold a lot of different properties before, right? And now here you are, someone that came off confident and believable, and like I mean, now you that person actually trusted you enough to like give you this repeat business. And not to mention, after you've closed this now, the marketing you can like the way you can market this transaction is not like other ones because this can go out to end users, to investors, to upsizers. Because like this crazy spread. Correct me if I'm wrong. You bought a property for 950 or 900 or so. Um, that has an after repair value of 1.9. The spread is like $1 million. Tell me about that. So like as far as what you've done goes, how long did it take to acquire this client from when you first spoke to him?
I can tell you that he saw my ad and he saw my content, like my online content. So he kind of, I think he felt like this is a guy who knows about the market, who knows about real estate. Like he felt like I was knowledgeable. So that's kind of how it initially started. But it, like from when I got him as a client. It was quite a journey because again, we put in offers. It sometimes like the numbers, it was a frustrating one in itself because investors always look at numbers, right? That's the most
Yeah.
important thing. So if the numbers don't work, then the deal can't work, right? So finding a deal where the numbers could work is definitely crucial. And as I was like looking at properties, I was definitely more focused on areas where I knew that we could find a potential large spread. And finally, we did find a good area and we found the right property that was situated in the right place. Um, and then again, like we were going up against 15 offers, right? So this is where he really saw me work my hardest. Like I couldn't even believe that I pulled this off. Like I went in like thinking like I'm just a new agent, like who's gonna want to work with me? But then here I am winning an offer out of 15 different offers, right? Like it's
Yeah.
crazy, right? And
Yeah, it's quite a story. It's quite a transformation, which inspires me a lot. And speaking of that, like when you first got your ads running to closing this deal, uh, what was that time frame roughly?
I think we started in early April, I think.
I guess I should ask, when was the last time we ran our ads?
I think it was like May, end of May, something
Yeah,
like
around end of May, and then correct me if I'm wrong, but it's about 6 weeks. Like I mean, I guess between 4 to 6 weeks that you got this client, really, and you closed this deal, right?
that.
Gotcha. And
And I did get other clients too. Like I mean, there were other clients, but some of them ghosted me after because they just didn't feel they were ready. And I did take showings to another client, and he's just taking it slow, but he's still working with me. He's just not in a rush. So, I mean, I got quite a few clients, and I closed one sale in 6 weeks. So it's impressive. Like now that how I've worked hard with this client. Not only that, I learned so much about the transaction process and deals and negotiation and how to win out a good offer. Like it was a huge learning curve for me. So that on top of that and the fact that I got clients and I think now I'm prepared to scale up at some point, right?
A
Once
100%. Once we nail, this one ad that has worked for you, all we have to do is duplicate it, right? So that's the best part. Now we have predictability. We know how much we need to spend in order to make a ROI. Speaking of spending, how much do you think we spent in terms of that time frame for the ads?
we
Uh,
did spend quite a bit of money, but I mean, I know the first few ads didn't work and and then I had to redo the videos a couple times. So I don't know the exact number, but we did. I mean, and again, it's the first time. It's learning everything, getting the tone and everything. Like I used to suck at taking videos of myself, so that was a learning curve in itself. And it's just I guess like it just took a lot of time to for me to develop my skills to be able to present myself good in the video. Then once I started climbing clients and I needed to develop my skills to convert them to active clients, and then once I have an active client, then I gotta build that trust as we're putting in offers, right? They gotta see
Yeah,
this
yeah,
guy.
100%. Would you say, give or take that, I mean, we were at an ad budget of around $30 a day, so we couldn't have exceeded that. And if it's been since the end of April, well, end of May that we started, and now we're in, mid-July almost, we're talking about like around 6 weeks. So safe to say, would you say it's around 1,500 to 2,000 that you spent on this particular ad to get your ROI, or was it more? I mean,
For just that one ad, it was less actually. It was probably like $800, I think. But we
800.
spent money on other ads which didn't work, right?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
know
So
like there was one ad where I kept it running even though no leads were coming, and I was thinking maybe it was like a cycle, right? Maybe it was gonna come after, but it wasn't. So
let's say even if we were to add up even the ones that didn't work, that would be give or take like I mean 3,000 tops, right?
yeah.
Between all of them. And now with the 3,000 ad spend, we're looking at 25K ROI. I think that's a great return on investment with the future potential of referrals and listing and other clients that you can market to. Uh, amazing, amazing. As far as your active clients go, I think you said you have about like, I mean, another one that is somewhat on the fence, which is fantastic. How much time would you say you spent on the leads, or on, overall the paid advertising aspect? Like, let's just talk about the leads. Like, how much time did you
I
spend?
didn't spend as much time as I could have. Like again, I need to develop like, proper follow-ups and, obviously when they get a lead, reaching out as soon as possible. So again, these are things that I'm going to be incorporating when I do rerun my ads, but I was just focused on getting this one client, getting this one sale so I can at least make back the money I spent because I just wanted to see something come in, right? So now that I finally am getting something come in, it's now I feel more comfortable and more confident and I learned so much along the process, right? So definitely I'm, you know, prepared
Yeah,
to keep it going and, keep, you know,
keep scaling. Yeah, absolutely. If we were to just put a number to it, like, would you say it's 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, 10 hours a week,
1 hour, I think, 1 or 2 hours.
one
And
hour?
I was also putting like content, like the email blast every week. So,
I love
at least
that. I
keep
love
that
that.
nurture going.
Yeah, yeah. So here you are. There's agents where they spend 8 hours a day and still don't land a deal right away. And with you spending 1 hour a day closing 25K in 6 weeks, like just blown away by that result. In terms of, and this is really the last thing here, what would you say if someone was watching this or thinking of joining, they're on the fence, what would you say to them?
I would say to them, if you got the money and you do your research and you can make this work, right? It worked for me, it got me my first proper deal. It got me to learn a lot about everything involved in real estate transactions and it's something that has proven results, right? Like you had the proven results, the testimonials, so I felt confident going into something that I felt that could work, and it did, right? I mean, there's learning curves, there's things we had to kind of get, things we had to kind of move over, but eventually it worked out, and now I see it something that's gonna work going in, right?
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. I mean, in a nutshell, last thing, I mean, if we were to pretty much clarify here where you were before and where you are now, uh, what would you say in just a nutshell that has changed?
Where I mean, I was someone with no business, no referrals, no one saying, "Hey, Jesse's a realtor. Why don't you go reach out to him?" Right? Not to having something where I have people who actually call me saying, I have clients that actually want to show me listings so I can take them out on showings, and I got an investor client out of it, and I got something that's predictable now, right? Something that I know where I have potential to build business. Whereas before I had nothing. Like I had content, but I had no leads, no predictability, nothing. Like I didn't, I was just I'm some guy on Instagram. Now I feel like I have something predictable, something where people can recognize me and, I plan to use what I've done so far to build that, right? Build my brand and my image.